One two one two one two. What's going on? It's your boy Jason Mass. Jason Mass playing music. About to get off into another music review of a very seminal and important album to me in the history of music. This is Radiohead Kid A, released in 2000. Um, this was Radiohead's fourth LP. Um, and for all the acclaim that OK Computer got, and I enjoyed OK Computer, I thought it was a great album as well. Um, for me, and what my tastes are, as far as sonic exploration and things of that nature, Kid A is a far superior record than OK Computer. Um, and it's better than the follow up, which would have been Amnesiac, came out about a year later after Kid A, and I say that because in the music press, I kept reading that Amnesiac was a better album than Kid A. I totally disagree with that. I think Kid A is Radiohead's pinnacle work in terms of an LP. Um, this one right here, to me, is easily one of the best albums of the last 25 years or so. So we're going to go ahead and, like we always do, get into it, speak on each individual track. I'll tell you my ratings and then give you my score at the end of the video. This one right here starts off with a perfect track, everything in its right place. And there's a certain amount of sarcasm and irony in the title of that track because sonically everything feels slightly out of place. Um, Great pulsating organ riff that propels the song. Tom York's vocals. There's like a main vocal, and then there's the backing vocal that is manipulated and perverted within an inch of its life, and that just adds this very bizarre strangeness to the song, which that was their intention, and they succeeded masterfully in that great, perfect piece of work to start off another great album. Then we slide into the second track, Kid A, um, which for me was a 9 out of 10. There's a kind of random, tentative, almost childlike playfulness to this track. And again, it's Tom York's vocals being affected beyond immediate recognition. Another great track. Um, yeah, that's a pretty interesting one there too as well. Then it goes off into the third track, the national anthem. This is all centered around a bass line that's reminiscent of maybe like Love and Rockets' Motorcycle, but a way better version, way better song as well. Um, Random atmospherics and symphony sounds are piled on top of this bass line that just keeps just driving almost like a hip hop track. Um, Tom's vocals are a little bit more pronounced on this track, and the manic free jazz freakouts that they just fit in the track perfectly. And you can hear the influence of jazz acts like the Art Ensemble of Chicago. Um, that presence is very heavy. It's a great track. Perfect 10 out of 10 for me. Then we go into another perfect track, How to Disappear Completely. Um, an acoustic guitar finally appears in the song and on the album to finally bring a kind of human element to the record that thus far hadn't that wasn't there up until this point. Um, it's a near ballad, nearly a ballad, and the lyrics, "I'm not there, this isn't happening." Very heavy air of melancholy, subtle and sublime strings make this very strange turn, um, that momentarily leads to to the song almost sounding like a horror it goes into horror film territory before it returns itself back to a kind of normal place. Great, great song. How to Disappear Completely. Another perfect track. Another 10 out of 10 track. Then it side one of the album ends with Tree Fingers, and this is an ambient piece, and it could have easily been on one of Eno's ambient records. Easily, it's like in that ilk. Great track though. A nice subtle come down and midpoint to the record that ends side one. Yeah. Then starts side two starts with the sixth track, which is entitled Optimistic, another perfect track. This was the second and final dose of guitar-based orthodoxy to be found on Kid A. And the impromptu sounding slight jazz and funk ending, that was a real nice touch as well. Optimistic, great track, another solid track. Goes into yet another great track entitled In Limbo, where these vocal ghosts kind of reflect and chase each other during the verses. And the vocals have like a double exposure, ebb and flow throughout the track, and perfectly reflect the mood of the song's title, In Limbo. The end sounds like one of the ghosts trying to escape from the track, but it failed and is dragged back down into like a labyrinth like abyss, you know, and then it fades on out and goes into what is probably my favorite track on the album, yet another perfect track, entitled Idiotech. Yeah, a perfect track. The synth textures, they bubble and recede back and forth under a kind of weary synth tone, and that lyric, everything all the time, sounds like the very embodiment of emotional fatigue and mental exhaustion, you know, and Tom delivers that as such. Kind of got a post everything disco boogie to it. I think is real cool, and it feels like there's all these sonic textures, such as these wailing guitars and various noises. They enter and exit through the track at will. Just, you know, kind of, it's very disorienting, you know, especially if you're listening to it through headphones. It's just the ultimate in headphone music. Another perfect track, that's Idiotech. And it goes into the ninth track, which is another perfect track, called Morning Bell. There's a very eerily precise toy marionette type drumming that adds on to the creepiness of this track. And to me, this version that's on Kid A is better than the version that was on Amnesiac. I think this was definitely a better version. And it has that strange ass lyric, cut the kids in half. Yeah, Tom was really in his cut up lyric phase, and the stream of consciousness lyrics are all over this thing. And it adds on to the overall vibe and mystique of the record. I thoroughly enjoyed that. And the letdown track, and to me the weakest track on the record, is the final track, Motion Picture Soundtrack. I've always said this, for an album that is this phenomenal and it was riding so high, this is the most anticlimactic track I've ever heard on a record that's this good. It never made sense to me that this was even included on the record. It lags miles behind everything else, in my opinion. But that's the way they ended the record. so be it. You know, I think it was a mistake because everything else that preceded this, from track 1 to 9, is just perfect or damn near perfect. And that track just, it's just kind of a drone-ish kind of, yeah, it didn't do much for me. Needless to say, still one of the best albums of the last 20, 25 years or so. I would have to give this one a 9.6 out of 10. Radiohead Kid A, 2000. Stay tuned for more reviews. Thanks for listening. Peace.